back to Wargaming World, and we're here in France 1940 for a chain of command game of Swift to Support. The nature of the game here is that our French force are covering this area after words got out that the Germans have pulled through and are advancing very quickly along this road. We need to make sure that the Germans are held back long enough to make sure they don't get over this bridge and on towards the coast. To do that, nature of the game is going to be that we have the first turn where the French are holding their line as best they can, and they won't get any support until the second turn. For the Germans, the name of the game is Speed. So we've got armour and a Hanomag as well as infantry. They're going to power down this road and see how far they can get, see if they can get past the French, and if they can, take the various jump off points on the way. The most important thing is getting across this particular bridge and beyond. Once we get across there, no doubt this is going to be a very swift German victory. To save a little bit of time, I've already rolled for force morale, and that's 9 for both the French and the Germans. And I've also rolled for support, which was 2d6 plus 6, and we got a 10, so therefore it's 16 points for support. We'll work through what both forces have in a moment and look at the outcome of the patrol phase. Okay, let's take a look at the French force. So it's a standard infantry platoon. We have the platoon HQ, so we've got the senior leader and the inferior senior leader. The inferior has only 2 commands rather than 3, and behind them we've got a VB section here, and this figure here, which is one of the Senegalese force, I'll go on in a second, is going to command this section. Okay. Now we then have 3 standard infantry sections. So we have our non-commissioned officer, we've got 4 rifles and a light machine gun there with its additional crew, and then we also have 4 other crew. We've got 3 of these sections, and you'll see the ones at the back are the Senegalese infantry. I've added these in purely because I haven't used them for a while. I've got a couple of sections that I still need to paint, and I just want to get them onto the table. So the 1 here denotes the fact that one of the, or rather the non-commissioned officer, also has a submachine gun. I've just added that into this game. So this is our standard force that are on the board. Now for the support, we need to remember that in this game this support can't come on until the second turn. So we have here, we got 16 points of support. I've used 1 that I've already mentioned. 4 are used here on the 75mm anti-tank gun, or the infantry gun. We've got 5 crew in total and a junior leader. The 3 next to it is to denote that it can only come on the board with a 3 in the second turn and onwards. And you'll note the same situation here, which is the 25mm anti-tank gun. Again, it's got 5 infantry and a junior leader. It costs 3 points. The reliable R35, it's a very useful tank. It's quite cheap at 3 points. Again, it's got another junior leader with it. And finally, I have a section of cavalry. These are the ones that I've just painted and just put on the previous video. They're 5 points. There will only be 6. We've got a junior leader, we've got a machine gun there, and there'll only be 6 on the board at any time. So either they are mounted or when they dismount. So yeah, it's only a unit of half a dozen rather than 12, but yeah, I want to get them straight on the board and we'll see how useful they are. Right, so let's have a look at the Germans. It's a second wave German force, so we have our 2 senior leaders, 1 with an SMG, 1 with a pistol, and then we have 3 identical sections or squads. We've got the MG34, so that's 3 crew. We then have 6 rifles and a a non-commissioned officer, an NCO, with a submachine gun. So there's 3 identical sections, so we go straight to support. Now, this particular game, we've got a Hanomag for support, bringing one of the infantry sections forward. We then have a Panzer II here, and finally a Panzer IV. So in all cases these come on the board with a 3, and as the blue dice show, we've had to cost out 3 points here, 5 and then 6, which leaves us with 2 points, which is going to be a pre-game barrage. Okay, we're now at the stage of the patrol phase, and we have the Germans starting down here. I'm not going to use those infantry as a marker. That was a suggestion ultimately actually from Greg Burton. So if you're watching, Greg, thanks for your suggestion. I was so desperate to get this new French cavalry section in. I thought it might be an idea of using as the patrol, so why not? The purpose of the game is to get the Germans off the board. So principally the 3 armoured vehicles, if I can get all 3 of them off the road here and over the bridge, which is back here, then the Germans win. That's as simple as that. It doesn't matter about force morale or anything else. If all 3 get off, then that's the game. If, however, one of them is disabled or they can't get off the board for whatever reason, then the game is on the force morale, and we start on 9 with each. Therefore, naturally for the French to try and keep the Germans down at this end is the name of the game, but the French will not get any support until the 2nd turn. So let's see where we go with the patrol phase. Right, well, the outcome of the patrol phase, as you can see, the French cavalry have screened out here, and the Germans, and I've marked them with the Wargaming World dice, is that we've ended the patrol phase 1 here, and then the other 3 are wider again over onto this side. So we've got to move to make 3 jump off points, and it means the Germans get plenty of cover in this area around the farm, and also they'll have a jump off point towards the back there. So we've got where the armour is coming on through the road, which it has to anyway, and the French, well, they're going to be quite a way back, but that might well be the plan anyway. So this screen, I think, has probably been effective, and we'll work out where the jump off points are. Okay, let's start with the German jump off points. All 3 are marked by the Wargames World green dice. So we've got 1 here, just by the farm, 2nd, and just by the farm, and the 3rd over by the start of the road. And for the French, as we come along the road, then the first one is here in this building, marked out by the blue dice. And further across, as we go down the road again, we've got the 2nd one. It's just at the back here of the wooded area. And finally the 3rd, right at the back, just by the church. If we get to a desperate point where the Germans need to take the final jump off point, it's all the way back here. Right, let's go to the start of the game, the first phase. Okay, we've got the same force morale Germans and the French. I've rolled, and the French got the dice, so it's the French first phase, remembering that no support can come on until turn 2. Okay, 3 1s and a 6. Okay, I want to bring on a section and the VB team as well, but the Germans have a pre-game barrage, so let's have a roll and see if they can come on. First of all, the section. 1, 2, 3, they can't, but the section can come on with a 4, and the VB team, they're on as well. And so we've got effectively 2 3s, so we've brought on a full section into this building on the ground floor and the first floor. You can see that the junior leader is just at the back there, And right over we can see the VB team. That's come on also with a 3. It's just about 6 inches away from the jump off point, and it's just at the back of the building. So we're over to the German phase. Well, that's a great start with 2 3s, so 2 pieces of armour can come on, 1 chain of command dice, 1 team and 1 senior leader if we want to bring them on. Okay, with the 1 and a 4 we've got a team now on the board. They're on Overwatch with the senior leader, so that's here just in front of the farm, looking across onto these houses. And then with the 2 3s we've got the Hanomag and the Panzer IV just coming onto the board. It's the French phase. And just 1 to the chain of command dice, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, I want to bring on the remaining 2 sections and a senior leader, so let's see if we can get on the board. Let's start with the Senegalese infantry. Yes, they can. The other infantry. Yes, they can. And the senior leader. No. Right, the first section is moving from the jump off point next to the church and is going to occupy the brasserie. And if we move slightly further away there, we have our second section now going to move and occupy the cafe. German phase. And so we can bring on the third of the armoured vehicles, so we can bring on the Panzer II. We can move the Hanomag. I've got 2 points to the chain of command dice and also a 2. Right, the Hanomag can move at 3d6 plus 6 down the road here, so let's see how far it goes. So we've got 16 inches in total. Okay, with the 2 we've got this section on the board just next to the farm. We have the Hanomag moving at 16 inches with the 3, and then we have also the other Panzer II coming on the board. It's a French phase. So we've got 1 to the chain of command dice, and then 3 1s. Okay, with the 2, some but not all of this section have got into this building, and we've also got a 1, so we're going to see whether we need to fire with the machine gun in this building as well. Right, I'm going to do nothing with the 1, which means it's back to the German phase. 2 for the chain of command dice, 1 3, 1 and a 4. Okay, Panzer II is going to move, just gets an additional 3 inches on top of this move as well, so we get 13 inches. With a 4, the senior leader orders the section to move forward, which would be 2d6, but moving or removing the lowest dice to get over the hedge. 6 inches. And the French phase. Yeah, 3 2s, a 3 and a 4. Try and get a senior leader on the board. And yep, comes on. Okay, I've got 3 2s and a 3, so I'm going to put 2 of the 2s together to make a 4, see if we can bring on the second senior leader. No, we can't. Okay, so we've got this section into the building here, and we've got most, but not all, into the brasserie here on both levels. And it's the German phase. Right, something for the senior leaders quite obviously, but not a great deal more. Okay, so we've got 4 4s and a 1. The senior leader is going to order this unit just to move 1 d6. We're just going to move tactically across here, just a little bit conscious that they might start getting fired on from this building up there, so yeah, move tactically, and other than that we can't really do anything. I'm not going to bring on the second senior leader yet, so that'll be the end of the German phase. And it's the French phase. 1 more to the chain of command dice takes it up to 3, and then we've got 3 2s and a 1. With the 3, I'll move this section into position here, and with the 2s, I'm going to take a 2 of the 2s and see if I can bring a senior leader on board. Leader 4, 5 and 6, and yes, the senior leader is in. Okay, so the senior leader has come in on the jump off point, just here, and is just going to go into this building in a second. So that's the end of the French phase. German phase. Now that's significant because this is now going to be the last phase, although it's going to be the Germans next. It means we're going to go into turn 2, and the French can bring the support on board, and it also means that it's the end of the barrage, and yeah, let's see what they can do with the 1 and the 2. Okay, well with this 3 I'm going to move the Panzer IV forward as well, and go 3d6 plus 3. So 14 inches. Okay, so we're now in turn 2. It's the house rules. One of the things that we need to do as well is that this machine gun team are no longer on Overwatch, and I need to roll 4 dice instead of 5. It's a house rule. I'll just deduct 1 dice each time that you have a subsequent phase. So let's see how we go from here. A 1, 2 2s and a 4. Okay, well with a 4 I'm just putting a note here that I'm going to bring on a new senior leader. With the 2 we're going to bring on the rest of the section to join the original team that's set up with the MG 34, and with the 2 and the 1 I'm going to take it to a 3 and have the Hanomag get further down the road. Okay, let's see how far the Hanomag goes for a start. We've got 10 plus 6 inches, so 16 inches further forward. Okay, the senior leader orders this unit to move forward again, so another inch, and to be tactical, and then it orders this squad to go on Overwatch. Okay, so far the Germans have advanced quite a long way down the road. We've got some infantry support here, sections on Overwatch, and we have another section, the 3rd section, are in here in this Hanomag. Now, the French are in this particular building, and that one, and in this one over here, and they've now got an opportunity to get some support. So as we're in turn 2, and the first opportunity really for the French to get on the offensive and be aggressive, the game should change a little in how we progress. French phase. And just as quickly, it's the end of the turn again. So we've got another phase for the French to come. So we've got a 2 and a 3, and yeah, we'll be on to turn 3. Okay, so with the 2, the section's going to fire here on the Hanomag. It doesn't really matter from the rifles, but we're going to be firing with the light machine gun, which is in the downstairs window. We'll just fire through the window and see whether we can get this Hanomag to retreat. So with the 3, we've got the tank here that's coming across the bridge, and with the 2, we go further down the road. Then we have the troops here. Now, their original order is that whatever goes past the window, fire at. Now, I know that we can bring extra French support, and possibly it would be better to wait until we've got anti-tanks, etc. But that's only in the knowledge of the fact that the turns changed. So therefore, I am going to fire on the Hanomag. Okay, so when the machine gun fires from the bottom window, it automatically hits. All that we're doing here is that we're going to see whether this gets a save from the Hanomag. Essentially, it's we need a 5 or 6 to start off with, either of these dice, and we've got one, so there's no effect. However, the fact that the French have now fired from this building, this section down here is on Overwatch and will return fire. Just to add, it is the whole section that are on Overwatch. We did use 2 command initiatives to do so, and yes, it is going to be the end of turn, but it's not until after this activation, so it'll be the fire from this section, and in total we've got 14 dice firing at the French here in hard cover. Dice needing 5s. 5 will be shock, 6 to kill. Let's see whether it's the junior leader. No, it's not. It's turn 3 and it's a French phase. Another double phase and 2 to the chain of command dice. Chain of command dice goes to 5 and we're down to 3 dice. 4 and a 3. The 4, the senior leaders moved into this building and put the section on overwatch. The 3, we've got this 25mm anti-tank gun. This is coming in close to that jump off point from the building and is going to fire here at the Hanomag. As well, let's see if it hits. With an 8, that's a hit. Okay, I'm going to say it's the front armour rather than the side here, and so we've got 5s and 6s required. We've got an armour piercing of 5 for the gun, 2 for the armour of the Germans, and we've got +1 as the consequence of that. Let's see what the results are, and a 5. The result of that is 1 shock and the forward weapon is destroyed. So I'm going to say essentially the team that are in here have lost the MG34, which would be at the front of the vehicle. German phase. 1 to the chain of command dice, so that takes it up to a whole dice, and we've got 2 2s, a 3 and a 1. I feel a bit stuck here. I could use the 3 on the Hanomag. Get the unit to come out, try and attack the light gun here. At the back, I could use the 2 to move this section on, but at the moment I've got a senior leader in here and another one here, sort of stuck there. I'm trying to bring these tank forward as well. There are lots of options, but I think I'll go with that and see what I can do. Get out the Hanomag, we've got 1d6 to get within 4 inches of that 25mm gun. This unit in here isn't fighting. I know we'll go past them and it's within 4 inches, but they're holding a hard cover position, so I'm going to allow myself to attack them. But let's see how high the dice roll is. 3, 4, and therefore can't reach them. So unfortunately they've got out with the intention of attacking, but they are somewhat prone. Okay, this section firing at effective range at the French in that building. 4 hits, 2 will be on the machine gun team, which is the white dice. 2 killed with the machine gun team and 1 rifle. Is it the junior leader? No, it's not. I'm going to move the Panzer II, trying to move it into this field so we get a fire position over here. First of all, we'll have to see how far they can actually move. So we've got 10, you get +2 for each dice on road, which would take you to 14. It is turning, but I think we'll probably get a good arc there. Who's moved into an excellent position. So now I've got to fire at the building, 4 5s and 6s to hit with 6 HE. And that looks like 5 hits. 4 5 will be shock, 6 to kill. White is the machine gun team. 2 points of shock in the rifle team. French phase. 4 in total, and 1 for the chain of command dice, which gives it a full chain of command dice. Well, I'm going to use 3 of the 4 1s for the junior leader in here to use a command initiative to get somebody to pick up the machine gun, and then the second order is to fire out of the window. So we've got 6 dice in the bottom window, and we have in the top, I think we've got 2 rifles and the officer, so I think we've got 9 dice in total just firing at this section. I'm not going to use the other one because I haven't got a single team. 9 dice needing 4s. 2, 3, 4 hits. So I'll have 2 teams in the this section, even though it's lost its machine gun. So we'll say the white dice are the machine gun team. And so we've got 1 killed in each and 1 point of shock on the machine gun team. Yes, it is. What happens to the leader? Gets a light wound. Things happen. Junior wounded is a -1. Germans down to 8. German phase. German double phase. 2 3s and a 1. Right, with the 3, this section's now going to attack the 25mm crew here. With the 1, this team is going to fire again at the French in the building, and with the other 3, this tank's going to fire both its main gun and machine guns again here in this building. However, before anything else, the French are going to interrupt and fire again from that building on this section. The French do have 2 points of shock on the rifles here, so I'm only going to use 8 dice rather than 9 that I used last time, kind of equal it out, needing 4s. And we've got 3 hits, the machine gun team, and we've got 1 kill in the rifles. And is it the leader? No, it's not. Right, the Germans are going to attack. Can't use hand granaten because the commander only has 1 initiative. So we've got the attack, and we'll just work out what's the outcome. Works out 9 for the Germans, 8 for the French. 1 point I would make is that actually the French were on a +1 for their troop type and a -1 for the Germans. However, I didn't give the Germans 2 for additional support points, so we're going to say that they're the same level. So yeah, 8 versus 9. First of all, well, that's just 1 with 1 5. French. Right, the French win 2 kills to 1. They also inflict 1 additional point of shock. Let's just check about the leader. First of all, the German leader. It's not him. With the French, it is him. And let's have a look at the outcome. It's a light wound. The French commander takes a wound, so it's one bad thing, so it's a -1, so the French go down to 8. So the Germans are pushed back 6 inches, and they fight again immediately. 6 for the French, 7 for the Germans. With the French first this time. And just 1 kill here. And this time the Germans have won by 1. Is it the German leader? No, it's not. Is it the French leader this time? No, it's not. As we were. This time it's 3 fighting 4. We've both got an officer with 1 command initiative. Got to be careful with the shock though. With the Germans, we've got 4 shock already. For the French, 5 for the Germans. And that's 1 kill for the French. And 1 point of shock. That's significant. And the Germans 3, so this time it's a bigger difference. So we've got 2 points of shock and 3 kills. Is it the French leader? No. Is it the German leader? No, it's not. Right, the outcome here is that the support team, the 25mm gun, it's wiped out. The junior leader is 9 inches further back as the end of that battle. Of this section, I'm going to say it's just it's the remaining rifle team. But of this section, it's got 5 shock, so therefore it's now pinned but doesn't break. Support unit killed. The 4 is a -2. It takes the French down to 6. For all that, we've got this team firing again at the French in the building. 1006 is needed, and we've just got 1 hit. And that's a point of shock. So it means that the rifle team at the top here, if we can just see, they're now pinned with 3 shock. So it's going to fire again. This time it's main gun and its coax machine gun again at the building with the French in it. 4, 5 and 6 to hit, and we have 3 hits. White dice are the machine gun team. 1 of them is killed, and let's just check if it's the junior leader. No, it's not. Coax machine guns moving 4, 5s and 6s. That looks like we've got 4 hits. Shock 6 to kill. White is the machine gun team. Point of shock on the rifles. Okay, so it's the second German phase, and they're down to 4 dice, and it just looks like the French are a little bit extended, a bit exposed now, down to 6 in the morale, and I know that we've got some support here, but others are all the way back there, so I'm not altogether too sure the game's going to last that long. Anyway, right, let's see how we go on the next phase. Okay, 2 5s for the chain of command dice, and a 3 and a 2. Right, this could be a decisive phase, I think. So this Panzer II is going to fire with the machine gun and with the main gun again at this French unit in here, and although they're pinned, this small unit are going to fire at the junior leader there, try and knock him out and get the force morale right down for the French. Right. The junior leader fires, and you get 2 dice for that. It's 10 inches away from the target. That leaves us with 3 for the rifles, and I'm just going to give 1 as opposed to 2 for this, so they've got 3 in total to hit. So we're going to start off needing 5s and 6s with the submachine gun. That's definitely nothing. And we need 4 5s and 6s with one of the rifles, and that's a miss, and that's just a waste of that dice. Okay, so I think I've misplayed there, really. Should have moved that section up rather than to try and knock out the junior leader, but never mind, that's what we've done. So it's going to be, first of all, is the main gun, 6 HE, 4 5s and 6s, and now that's significant because if it's a 4, then that building is also going to collapse, or might collapse, so I'll work that out at the end. 4 hits though. White dice of the machine gun team, 4 5 is shock, 6 to kill. And that's 1 point of shock on the machine gun team. Now it's the machine gun, 4 5s and 6s. And 1 2 3 4 5 6 hits. Same again, sorry, 5 for shock, 6 for a kill. Means we have 1 point of shock again to the machine gun team. Right, so we've got 4 6s on this particular building, which means everybody inside, so we've got these 3 and these 3, we've got to roll. If it's a 5 and 6, they're killed, and then the building collapses and the remaining troops have got to move outside. Now we're also conscious of the amount of shock they've got, or the possibility that they might break. This one here, this unit here, is right on the cusp, so let's see if anybody's killed. Right, let's start off with the machine gun team down there. They've got 2 points of shock. There are 3 of them, 5s and 6s, and they're killed. No, everybody's fine, but they've got to come outside, and it's at the choice of what will be the German player, so therefore they'll come right outside into the road. Now in the upper floor, we've got 1 junior leader. The easiest way is just roll with this. The white one is going to be the junior leader, and it is. The junior leader is killed in this process. Well, I guess we might need to roll from there. I'll just work that out in a second. Anyway, one of the other troops is also killed, which means that team is down to 1, which means it would break, although I think it's in the same building as the other team, therefore I just need to work out the right way to conclude this. Okay, it's the junior leader's affected, we'll say, and we're going to roll it the same way as if it's a normal wound. So let's see what the outcome is. And it's a 3, so that means the junior leader is knocked out. It's going to be dragged out by one of the men, or the only one still alive, from the first floor. Right, now this takes some explaining. What I'm going to do is this. They were operating as 2 separate teams, one on the first floor, one on the ground floor. However, the building's collapsed, and from the first floor, the soldiers dragged the officer out. He's unconscious, and he's outside with all the rest of the with the troops there. So it leaves 4. We have a shock. I've combined the shock instead of keeping as separate teams and one of them breaking, etc. I just think it's realistic if they all come out together. They're pinned, so I'm going to best describe it as they're hiding around the front of this building. This German section is also pinned, and therefore neither can move, and that's why they're not already fighting. So we've still got a jump off point in there, so I think that's it, other than the fact that we need to roll for the bad thing happening for the French officer. That's a 1. The outcome of that is that it's no effects with the 1, so we're on to the French phase. Need a good roll for the French, I think. 2 4s, 2 and a 1. With a 4, the inferior leader only has 2 rather than 3 commands, has appeared within 6 inches of the jump off point. It's going to fire, first of all, here to see whether he can either kill somebody or add some shock, because we've got right on the cusp, I think, with the shock here. And then, depending on how that goes, he'll then order the VB team behind it to actually attack rather than fire the grenades, etc. Officer's got a rifle, 4, 5 and 6 to hit, and 6 is a hit. 3, 4 is shock, 5, 6 to kill. It's a 1. Risk with the VB team, if they only get a 1 here, they're not going to be near enough to fight. Anything higher than that, they're going to get there. Oh dear, but they aren't. Right, so the VB team has fluffed the lines. The inferior leader has managed to miss with the rifle. So let's see what else is happening. Right, we've got the R35. We're going to try and move on this bridge. We need, it's just going to be 2 dice to move. We can't move and fire. To do that, I need to have a 3 and a 1 because it has a small turret. So that's a specific rule for that. However, let's see how far we can go and get on the bridge and try and make a difference. 6 inches. Right, the senior leader in here has 3 commands. So the order he's going to make is to order this section or this team to move into the next room and to drop a grenade through the window. I'm going to say that that's going to take 2d6 to move, and therefore the team would be at half effect. So rather than 2 grenades, it's just going to be 1. So it's 1 command for that, and then the move. So I'm going to say that's just the complete thing. Although he's got 3 commands, we're going to say 4 men. I'm going to walk into the next room. I need 2d6 to do it, and drop a grenade. And I'm going to say, in order for that to be successful, we'll do the normal grenade test. But in terms of the roll with the 2d6, they need to go 4 inches. If it's less than that, then they don't even get to the window. First of all, do they get to the window? Yes, they do. Right, they drop the grenade, 1 single grenade out the window, everything other than a double 1. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, it's 2 dice, 3, 4 is shock, 5, 6 to kill. We're in the open. And that makes 1 point of shock. Okay, they're up to 6. However, they don't break because we're going to need to get higher than that in order to... You need to be double, so we would need 8. So they don't break, and really that's a bit of a waste. Certainly a bit of a waste from the VB team. And now it's the German phase. Okay, 2 more for the chain of command dice, a 2 and a 1. We'll start with this section, and it's going to fire at the team that are pinned here to see if we can impact it, and then we'll have a look at the Panzer II. It might fire at the same target, or at this particular building now, or potentially even the tank. 14 dice needing 5s. 5 hits. In the open, that's 1 kill and 1 point of shock. Leader. No, it's not. So I've made an error there. It's 1 kill, but it's not a point of shock because I realised that they are pinned, so therefore they are in tough cover. So therefore the 3 doesn't count. It is a man, and the shock is on 6, but we've still got a leader, so essentially they still don't break. Right, well, I think we'll use the machine gun to fire at the remaining infantry out here. We'll wait what we do with the main gun in a second. That rule correct, but I think so. 4, 5 and 6s. And we've got 1, 2, 3 hits, shock, and 6 to kill. It's 2 points of shock. I think that's going to be fairly decisive, because what we'll do after the main gun fires, we're going to end the turn for the Germans, which means we're going to have a section breaks and a junior leader will rout off the board. I'm going to fire at this building. Since we've chucked a grenade out the window, they realise that there's French there. So 4, 5 and 6. Just one hit. And let's see what the impact is. Nothing. One thing I am going to say is that the remaining jump-off point is still there. It's not being captured by the Germans here, although there aren't any French there. There are French here, and at the moment that's not another thing to take off for the bad things happening, even though we've now got come to the end of the turn, so I need to roll for the section and the junior leader. Okay, so first of all, section breaks. There's a 2. I think a 2 is a -1. Yes, it is. And in terms of our junior leader, that's a 4, and a 4 is a -2, so that takes the French down to 3. The French also go down to 3 dice, and they also need to lose a jump-off point. So I'm going to remove this jump-off point here. Now, that's somewhat advantageous to the French because the Germans could take it, but at the same time I guess the French could retake it here to keep control of it, so it's an inconvenience to them, but certainly it can't be the fact that I lose the jump off point and then have to roll for that, because otherwise getting to 3 dice would automatically reduce their force morale by 1 or 2. So I'm simply going to remove the jump off point from here, and then it's a French phase with 3 dice. I think we really need a miracle for the French, but let's see what happens. That's not necessarily it. A 4 and a 3. Okay, this senior leader here will order the VB section to fire and 1 command for a grenade to be thrown out of the window here. They can't afford to go into hand-to-hand combat, I'm absolutely sure. So that's what we'll do. And then with the 3, the R35 is going to fire at the Panzer II. 4 rifles first of all, 4, 5s and 6s. Oh, they're all hits. So 4, 5 is shock, 6 to kill. 5 is another shock. Grenade out the window, don't roll a double 1, and it doesn't. 2 dice, and therefore it is going to be a 3 or a 4 because it removes one level of. Okay, the shock's up to 9, and eventually this section will break. So I need to go back 6 plus 2d6, which is 14 inches. Breaks for the Germans, and a 6 is a -2, and that will take the Germans to 6. The R35 is firing at the Panzer II and needs 7, and just missed. It was because it moved, which is a -1, and also this is low profile, the Panzer II, so it's a miss. Two more to the chain of command dice, and we've got 2 3s and 1. Put the 1 and 3 together to make a 4. The senior leader here has moved both that section and this section forward, and we're then going to fire with the Panzer IV at the back at the R35. Let's see how we go on. Oh, that's definitely a hit. So the Panzer IV is firing at this R35. Gives an indication of the length of the board, where we're going all the way back here to the other side, and there we've got the Panzer IV. It's 5 dice each. Armour piercing of 5 for the Panzer IV, and the armour of 5 for the R35. So let's see how we go on. 5s and 6s, both of them. Simply bounced off. Okay, so it's another French phase. 1 for the chain of command dice, which only goes on to 1. It's not really that helpful. And with the 6, we've now only got a 1 left. We've got a 1. I suppose I could use one of these 2 teams here. I could fire at the retreating Germans, but that's just bad form, so I'm not going to do that. And it's not in the arc of fire to be able to fire at the Panzer II to try and get it to retreat. So realistically, I'm just going to go to the German phase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, with the 3, I'm going to fire and then move. I could have moved as well in the last turn with this tank and didn't. I'm going to do the same with the Panzer II, and with the 4, the senior leader is going to order this section and this section to move forward again. The 4 is going to fire at the R35 and hits it again. And as a result, nothing happens, it bounces off again. It's good French armour. Panzer II fires at it and hits. Got 3 with the Panzer II, and it looks like, however, to have had more effect. It has. So, okay, so it's affected it by 1. Let's work out what happens there. So the gunner panics. There's 1 point of shock. The gunner's actually the officer, so nothing's going to happen for this in the next phase. Right, both German sections moved tactically, still moving well, as is the Panzer II and the Panzer IV. The Hanomag still has a driver in it. I've just not used it there, so it's not destroyed, and also the same reason why I haven't had it as a bad thing, losing a support vehicle. Right, French phase with 3 dice. Not bad. 1, 2 and a 4. Well, with the 3, we've brought on another support, which is the 75mm gun. Bit of a last throw of the dice here, because it's going to fire at the Panzer II. Let's see how we go on. 6. That might well be a hit. Right, so 6 certainly is a hit. So although it was low profile, it would have been a 5 to hit, but a 6 is there. So we need 5s. We've got 5 dice for the French, 2 for the Germans, and it's a net 0. Neither of whom scoring any points at all. So what's the consequence? 6. Okay, well, the roll of a 6 means that we have to retreat 1d6 inches, and a roll which is for a 4, and they take 1 point of, or it takes 1 point of shock as well. The infantry are moved out of the way; they aren't trampled, but yeah, it's had some effect. With the 4, the senior leader here in this VB section has moved the section across at the double, taking a point of shock, but that's one of the commands, and one can remove it. And the junior leader, because it's within 4 inches, moves with them. German phase. Crikey, that's not awfully helpful. 4 points to the chain of command dice, but just a 4, which is for the senior leader. Okay, this senior leader here has ordered this section, or this squad, to move across from here. Has done successfully. We have also this one here has remained tactical and has moved up into port here to offer fire towards that building once that gets engaged. So that's all we can do in this particular phase. French phase. French double phase, and we only have, similar to the Germans, we only have a 4, which is the senior leader. Okay, so with the 4, what is in actual fact the inferior leader has moved this section further round here, so now it could fire in the next phase if it wishes towards potentially that target. And also there is an order to move this team forward, and although they're going to have to poke themselves out of the window and therefore lose some of the hard cover that they've got, they can also fire wider into this section if they wish, depending on how the next roll goes. Second French phase, oh blimey, is another phase that means we can only roll with 1 dice next, and that's the senior leader again. Right, the VB launchers are going to fire. We've got 4 to fire. However, the first time we fire, they're only at half effect, so effectively we've only got 4 dice, because it's 2 dice per VB launcher, so we need 4, 5 and 6 to hit. That's 4 hits. Yeah, that's right. So we've got 4 hits. This unit are tactical and in soft cover. However, we reduce that by 1, so effectively it's as if they're in just soft cover. So 4/5 will be shock, 6 to kill. That's 2 points of shock. Light machine gun and the rifles from these 3 windows gives us 10 dice. It's 5s and 6s to hit. Wow, what a terrible roll. 1 hit. It's a 5 for shock, 6 to kill. Absolutely nothing. German phase. 2 more to the chain of command dice. A 1, 2 and a 3. Okay, the 1, 2 and a 3 is that the team here, so it's just going to have the MG34 fire back at the French in this building. The 2 is that we're going to move this section on again, and 3 is that we're going to fire the main gun and the machine gun again at the French in that building. Machine gun first of all, 8 dice needing 5s, and just 1 for them also. See the impacts of that, nothing. That's been a very good move for that squad. They've moved by 11 inches up here and are getting very close to the French in this building. Panzer II will fire again here at the French, needing 4, 5s and 6s. And that's 5 hits. The French were leaning out the window, which essentially made them soft cover rather than hard cover, and this is high explosive, so therefore it's going to be 3s and 4s for shock, 5 and 6 for kills. 2 kills, 2 shock. Is it the leader? Yes, it is. We need to know, is this a senior leader or the junior leader? We'll say junior leader 1, 2, 3. It is the junior leader, and what happens to him? And he's killed, and I think that's going to be game. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 it's a -1, 4, 5, 6 it's a -2. And to 4 it's a -2, and the French are down to 1. This time it's the coax machine gun, so we're firing here, needing 5s and 6s. And we've got 1, 2, 3 hits, so it's 4, 5 for shock, 6 to kill. 1 shock, 5 over there, and 1 kill. 2 shock and 1 kill. 1 kill. Is it the leader? No, it's not. Now the Germans have still got 2 chain of command dice, therefore they're going to interrupt with the first one and repeat the process with the Panzer II firing at the same targets. 4, 5s and 6s to hit, and that's just 2 hits this time. The consequence of that is 2 kills. Is it the leader? Yes, it is. It has to be the senior leader, and because it's the senior leader, let's just see what the outcome is. But the game is done here. Loses 1 command point with a light wound. However, we've got a bad thing coming. And the senior leader wounded. So 2 is a -1, and the French are down to 0, and that certainly is the game. And there we have it. Victory for the Germans. They advance along the road, and they managed to clear out the French from this side, and we'll continue further along and go over the bridge, which ultimately is the objective, without any difficulty. I think I hear quite a lot on various forums, etc., is not to split up your forces, which is exactly what's happened here. The French being isolated in each location and not supporting each other has certainly meant that they've been picked off one by one, and my decision early on to put the Senegalese infantry in this building, honestly, that was disastrous. But you live and learn, so that's the end of this game, this chain of command game. If you've got any thoughts, any feedback, any suggestions, or any comment on the table, anything in particular, then feel free put some comments on the YouTube channel. And for those who might be seeing this for the first time, then please subscribe. The videos will come out every Thursday. That's my aim, and it comes across with different things, either games like this, or might be painting tips, or models, or reviews, and we'll see how we go with some different thoughts and ideas from the group. Okay, so we'll finish off here, and just let me say thanks very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for all those with the great comments that have come across over the past few weeks, and we'll see you next time from Wargaming World.